Good evening, everyone. I am so happy to join you after such a long duration of us not having any interaction. Can you imagine that? You and I have not communicated in a very, very long time. But I wanted to stop by and visit with you for a second. And before I even begin, let me share with you that if you read the description for today's webinar, you would notice that it actually says what the word slumber means in another language. So please go back and look at that, okay? Because I am starting something a little bit different on this particular podcast. And before I even go any further, and I can feel it happening, so let me just speak the obvious, you could say. The obvious is my voice fluctuates. It's been going in and out for about the last 7, 8 months, maybe even a little bit longer. But anyway, since they say it's nothing wrong, I say it's nothing wrong. Since I say it's nothing wrong, they agree with me. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to the evening drive home, and I have actually missed not being here, even though sometimes it seems like I wasn't that frequent anyway. So let me begin where I wanted to. For a short period of time, I was on what you might call a hiatus, or what you might call a period of rest. So I make mention of the word slumber, which I'm using the Hindu definition of the word, because I just wanted it to be a little bit different than just the American way. So that is in the description. So my duration was a short time, approximately 10 years maybe. A few visits in and out from time to time, checking just to see how you guys are doing. And then I'd step back into my cocoon, which I later found out that is now a word that has been commandeered and owned by Amazon. And ironically enough, it's the same spelling. So I said, okay, since they got there first, let me leave them alone. That is their word. But that was the word that I was using when I was describing where I visited and where I decided to reside for that 10 years. And now that we did that, I guess it's time for us to awaken. So I'm saying to you this evening, well, is it time for me to awaken already? I was having a good time with that little sleep in, come in, visit, step back out. But then I realized that things weren't getting any better. They were getting worse. And that was my perspective. But that's one perspective, because I have another perspective where things are exactly as you want them to be, if you decide so. So I'm not impressed with the chaos and the indifferences and the combined apathy and the once again, indifferences from the head of household members towards their children and so on and so forth. What happened? Are you the only one enduring, observing, belonging, impacting by the lack of humanity circulating in your atmosphere? Where? Why? How come? What's going on? Why are we sitting and allowing some of the circulation of negativity and things along that line just keep enhancing and taking in that type of energy field into our own atmosphere, which also causes a lot of other kind of problems. Of course, you know that, right? Because if you study any of the types of thoughts that are out there right now, you would see that your environment is very imperative as to how you view life and how you view yourself. And that's something that I think that we should take a look at, because none of us are getting any younger. But here's the other aspect. We have generations that are coming in right now who seems to be, I would say, a mist. They don't seem to really know what it is that they're doing or which way they're going. Not all, but those that are in those chosen communities, low income communities, disenfranchised communities, communities that are suffering the brunt of a lot of this stuff, whose educational systems are doing the same thing. And we're heading into a new school year. And hence the reason why I wanted to share some of this thoughts. And some of this is about monetary, some of this is about wealth. And some of it is not. Some of it's about things that you can actually do if you can get a handle on the fact of who you really are or who you think you really are. Okay? Now, everybody talks about social media and they say, my gosh, people go on social media and all they keep doing is scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But you know, if you get on the right channel, that scrolling and scrolling and scrolling will provide you with some very impactful, very strong, very focused direction. You don't have to be sitting there just wasting time, how many hours a day that they have managed to calculate that people are spending on the internet. But how many hours are people spending on the internet who are doing things that are constructive for themselves, either real estate, either just self development, either health wise, and how many are not? They didn't take that into consideration, I think, I feel. That's just my outside opinion. But it's a heavy influence going on here. Now, why do I say that to you? Because thoughts and energy, frequency, these things are huge. And yet, growing up, I don't remember that being something that was really brought to my awareness. Thoughts, energy, frequency. So I'm thinking some of the younger people that are born during this period of time who really came with a big agenda that most of us, and I'm talking baby boomer, that's who I am, so go forward from the baby boomer, all right? Most of us didn't really even hear half of these things. Of course, we were involved with technology in a sense. I remember when the television came to my home and I looked at it and I said to my father, how come there's only one station on here that works and there are 13 that are on the knob? They couldn't answer that question for me. But now we're saying the same thing in a sense, because a lot of us, and I'm talking about people that are coming from my generation going forward, don't even know how to use the computer in a fashion that the people who are being born during this time period are aware of and seem to just automatically vacillate, not even vacillate, acquire an interest and really go forward with it. You look at them and you think that they came out when they were born with a computer in their hand or a laptop on their lap or something along these lines. Why am I mentioning that to you? It's because obviously they came here with a different agenda than you and I might have. So, whatever their agenda is, they need your support, my support, and other people's support who are on a certain kind of wavelength that see the beauty in this planet. I saw something a few minutes ago where they were talking about, I should have really copied that down too. They were talking about Mother Gaia, planet Earth. And in so talking about her, let me see if I can find it. 480 million needless in orb. The U.S. military ring around the Earth. This was a 1963 secret space experiment that outraged, and that's as far as I'm going, because you can pick it up. It's on YouTube. But my reason for mentioning it was because I said, wait a minute, 480 million needless in orb around the Earth? What's that all about? These rings, what is that all about? And how is it impacting us with all the other things that are now beginning to happen? All kinds of weather phenomena is going on. All types of things to keep you scared. There's something that I will give some of the people who feel very strongly about religion credit for. They want to say that you must believe, you must believe, you must believe. I'm not going to go into any disputes and debates about the whole philosophy around that. What I will say is this: you also got to believe in yourself and believe that you were put on this planet at this particular time in order for you to access, provide information, help Mother Gaia as she goes forward, and prepare the people who are here to maintain and stay on this planet when others leave. What is going to be their outcome? What is going to be the reason why they stay? Who are they going to be influenced by? What are the things that they're going to be subjected to? Will you be able to sit down with them and provide them with information on how to exactly navigate through all of that, how to reach their higher self and get to a place where they can say, ah, I got an idea and I believe in me enough, just like somebody else would believe in themselves, to accomplish and to meet my goals and my directions. Two facets. You have positive and negatives, even though sometimes people don't like to deal with that, but that is a duality, yes. But it's a positive and a negative. So who's going to get control? Everybody's reaching for control. Everybody seems to want control right now. Okay. But that means that they're trying to control whom? The 6-year old, the 5-year old, the 12-year old, the 22-year old, the 50-year old. Who is being subject to control and for what reason and why? So, you can't really sit down and put the rifle to somebody's head to say, you're going to tell me why. But what you can do is you can sit in your room, become very quiet, very still, and ask yourself. There are a lot of philosophies about meditating, all different kinds of meditation. And you can get them all on YouTube and other social medias. So it's not like you're not getting help on one side of the fence. There's help there. There's a lot of criticism and ridicule because if you were really to master any of those gifts, you might be able to figure this whole thing out and maybe change the present course that we're on. And if you don't know what course we're on, okay, just realize that my energy and frequency is not on the same par with yours. Okay? And it's okay. And it's really okay. My thing is, these children, they need the shackles to be removed from them. Now, I'm not talking about free at last, and oh my gosh, I can't behave myself. No. I'm talking about somebody who has the ability, but just needs some direction and guidance. And those parents who don't think that they need to read, yes, these people need to read. Your children need to pick up a book and start reading, as well as the internet. And you also need to look forward and say, okay, if they're going to be left here on this planet while the rest of us you, rise above and go on to more horizons, better horizons, in a whole nother future dimension or something, whatever it is that they want to label transitioning. That's what I call it. What transitioning is all about. Whatever that is. Okay, whatever all of that is. You need to help your little people. I need to help my little grands and great grands and great 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 grands for I don't know how many generations. And the next door neighbor's children. Help them not to be afraid. Help them to learn how to be respectful. Respect themselves, respect their family name, and respect what has to be done. And you can get a lot done if you would stop scaring yourself. So don't watch movies that scare you. Why? Why are you going to scare yourself? What does that do? And then that means next minute, all of a sudden everybody wants to scare everybody. And what does that do? So that they can get control over the next person? Why? Don't they have enough control over themselves? Well, anyway, that's some of my thoughts. I'd like to go a little bit further than that, and I probably will as time progresses. But in the meantime, I just wanted to stop by for a quick second and just say, hey guys, I really miss you guys. I am going to be doing a magazine format. I have a couple of people that I'm going to be interviewing, a couple of new authors, and introduce them to you and see what you think about their books and stuff. I think that they're pretty good, really, really good. And then I'm also going to be doing a webinar. Love it if you stop by. And as the people would say, if you don't stop by, it's okay. You're just going to miss out. That's all. You're just going to miss out. I hope that you understand Mother Gaia is in need of our support in terms of frequency. Because there's a lot happening on the planet that's being broken down that some people know of and some people don't. There are reasons why wars are in certain parts of this globe. There are reasons. Do you know what the reasons are? Did you investigate the reason, or did you just sit back and go right into my industry? Because I came out of the news department, all right? Right into my industry and just go verbatim, blatantly. Just, yes, hallelujah, praise the Lord. No. Did you investigate? I'm talking about you, adult. That's what I'm talking about. because you're the one that's going to be influencing those who cannot see, cannot hear, cannot speak clearly yet. And I want them to be able to, so that they don't have to stumble and fall. This is not a time for stumbling and falling. Too much at stake. And nor is it a time for everybody to become complacent. Just sit still and say, well, she'll do it, he'll do it, they'll do it. But why won't you do it? Why won't you do it? Why won't you help that kid who's sitting over there, who's acting outrageous, who's probably gifted more than you have ever been? Help that child. And help that parent if that parent is a very young parent. Help that young lady, help that young man to have the courage to stay away from any extracurricular activity that will damage their brain cells. We don't want that. We need them to be healthy. So without any further ado, and I'm now at 16 minutes, I'm not going to go any further. I hope that this does not fall on deaf ears. And I'll say this to you. We're in some interesting times right now, and we are making history. All kinds of stuff that is happening to planet Gaia, to Mother Gaia. All kinds of things. Her elevation. She's in school, and if she's in school, what do you think we're doing? We're in school too. Different levels for different people. And for those who can help, and for those who can't, help anyway, and kind of stay focused. Use your imagination to create beautiful things, not chaotic things, not destruction, wars, and stuff like that. That's not even my interest. I'm saying that to you. There has to be beauty in the world. I remember when I was a child, I used to ask my mom, why do we have to work? I think I might have been about 6 or 7. I had no idea how deep that question was, because she just flicked it off, She was, because Natalie, because, But I didn't feel that was the true answer. I said, there got to be something else. Got to be more to this. So what do you think it is? Tell me. And also tell me, has any of your younger siblings, your younger children, or even grandchildren have asked you questions that you feel a little bit outside the circle? And if they learn very quickly, and they will, and they do, and most of them know who they are, don't tell them that that's not who they are. Let them show you who they are. It's been an honor and a pleasure being around you. And yes, we are living in interesting times. We are definitely experiencing them now. Stay focused and use your imagination to create peace and love and light and beauty. And I will look forward to be with you again in a couple of days, or maybe next week, the same time. Enjoy your life. And don't be afraid. Just think about love. And I don't mean like the flower children, the era that I come from. I mean, think about love. Love for yourself, love for your family, and love for the world. We need some courage and some strong people at this time. Remember to create the reality that you truly do desire, and not one that you don't, that you truly do desire, and not one that you don't. Focus on what is balanced and positive. In my energy field, I say positive and balanced. So, talk to you next time. This is NJ Evans. Ciao, guys.